General Hospital will reveal Tracy sitting motionless in a chair, her gaze hardening as she hears the news that Sasha is pregnant. At first, she thought the child was Cody's, an unexpected event but not one that posed a major threat. While Cody was not someone Tracy respected, at least he wasn't a danger to the Quartermain family. But when the truth comes out that the child is actually Michael's, a fury rises within her. Her hands clutch the armrests of the chair, nails digging into the cushion as if that was the only way Tracy could restrain the rage waiting to explode. A child bearing the Quartermain bloodline, born to someone like Sasha, a woman Tracy had never trusted, a former addict, a liar, weak, and unworthy, was an affront to her. It wasn't just a matter of honor, but the safety of the family. Sasha wasn't merely a pregnant woman, she was a venomous snake, a dangerous woman who had wormed her way into Michael's life, seducing him, weakening him, and now scheming to use the child to bind him forever. Tracy wasn't stupid. She knew exactly what women like Sasha were capable of. They didn't just love or admire, they plotted, step by step, to infiltrate a powerful family. Sasha had been given a chance to enter the Quartermain house before, but she lost it when she failed to keep herself from self-destruction. And now, she had returned with a more dangerous card, a child with the Quartermain name. That meant Sasha wasn't just trying to worm her way into the family, she might be plotting for a share of the wealth and inheritance. Just thinking of that future, Tracy felt her blood boil. Now everything was clear in Tracy's mind, Sasha couldn't keep the child. By any means necessary, she had to stop this from happening. She couldn't let someone like Sasha have the chance to turn the child into a tool to manipulate Michael. She couldn't let it grow up to be part of the Quartermain family. And more importantly, she would never let Sasha have any position within her family. Tracy stood up, her gaze cold, her lips tightly pressed together. The anger had turned into an unshakable determination. She no longer just hated Sasha, she wanted her to disappear, along with the child. Sasha might have thought she had won this game, but she had underestimated Tracy Quartermain. Sasha would never realize what was happening until it was too late. Tracy didn't hesitate to act immediately. She knew that if she wanted to get rid of Sasha and the child, she needed an ally who had a good reason to act. Willow was the perfect choice, a woman who had always been proud of her position by Michael's side but was also vulnerable to jealousy and the fear of losing everything. Tracy understood that psychology and had prepared a perfect story to plant seeds of doubt in Willow's mind. She approached Willow one afternoon, when she was lost in her own thoughts, looking somewhat weary. Tracy sat beside her, intentionally creating an intimate and sympathetic atmosphere. After a few words of introduction, she began subtly planting doubts about Sasha in Willow's mind. The story was crafted perfectly. Sasha wasn't just pregnant, she was deliberately manipulating everything to tie Michael down. Initially, she had been with Cody, but within one night, she slept with Michael and decided to claim the child as his. Tracy continued to push deeper into Willow's insecurities, emphasizing that Sasha was not a simple woman, she had a clear goal, to enter the Quartermain family and secure a future for her child. A child bearing the Quartermain bloodline could shift the balance of power within the family, and once Sasha succeeded, she could demand even more. Willow might not realize it now, but if she didn't act soon, she could lose everything. Tracy's words were like a knife cutting deep into Willow's mind, causing her to think back on all of Michael's recent actions. She remembered his evasions, the strange silences, and the worried look he had whenever Sasha was mentioned. If Tracy's words were true, this could be a disaster. Not just betrayal, but it could put her at risk of losing control over Wiley and Amelia. If Michael was truly being manipulated by Sasha, if he was bound to the child, who could guarantee he wouldn't change his mind and seek custody of the children? Fear, combined with hatred, caused Willow to lose her composure. She had always believed Michael was faithful to her, that no matter what happened, he would never betray her. But now, the thought that he might have secretly been with Sasha and left such a serious consequence made her feel humiliated. She couldn't accept this. She couldn't let an unwanted child appear and ruin everything. Tracy watched Willow's reactions closely, noticing the change in her eyes and expressions. No further words were necessary. Tracy knew Willow had completely bought into what she had said. The anger, hurt, and jealousy were driving Willow to her limit, and that was exactly what Tracy needed. Willow might have betrayed Michael by sleeping with Drew, but that didn't mean she could accept Michael doing the same with someone else, especially not with someone like Sasha. The fury in Willow was not just disgust for Sasha, but despair at the thought of losing her most important position, the only woman by Michael's side, the only mother of his children. She felt threatened, feeling the need to do something to protect everything that was hers. It didn't take long for Willow to start thinking about how to get revenge. She didn't just want to hurt Sasha, she wanted to ensure that the child would never have a chance to be born. This wasn't just a personal matter anymore, it was about power, family, and control. Willow never thought she could hate anyone this much, but now, she knew that Sasha and her child were her greatest enemies. Meanwhile, Tracy stood silently observing, pleased to see her plan unfolding as expected. Willow had been guided down the path Tracy wanted, and now all they had to do was wait for her to act. Sasha would never know what was happening, and when everything fell apart, no one would suspect Tracy was behind it all. Willow never imagined she could descend into such a state of fury. She had made mistakes, betrayed Michael when she slept with Drew in a moment of weakness. But to her, that was just a moment of vulnerability, a mistake she could hide and fix. What Sasha did was different. Sasha wasn't just betraying her, she was scheming to change her life entirely. The child Sasha carried was an unacceptable threat. It wasn't just the result of betrayal, it was a stepping stone for Sasha to take a permanent place in Michael's life, claim his attention, and even power within the family. Willow felt the fire of anger rise inside her. She thought back to recent times when Michael had started changing, when his attention toward her became distant. She had seen the signs, but she had purposely ignored them, comforting herself that everything was still fine. But now, Michael had truly betrayed her, not with a stranger, but with Sasha, a person she had once considered a friend. Willow couldn't forgive that. The anger slowly turned into obsession. If Michael had indeed slept with Sasha, what would happen next? Would he start to care more for her? Would he want to protect the child, bring it home, and let it grow up alongside Wiley and Amelia? If that happened, Sasha would have a firm position in Michael's life, and from there, she could control everything. Willow couldn't let that happen. She had lost too much, fought too long to get where she was today. She wouldn't let anyone, especially Sasha, take it from her. The thoughts in Willow's mind grew darker and darker. She knew that simply exposing Sasha to everyone wasn't enough. If she just humiliated Sasha, Michael might still feel guilty and try to protect her. No, she needed another way. She needed to make sure that child never had a chance to be born. At first, that thought terrified her, but soon, the fear was overwhelmed by rage. Willow no longer cared about the consequences. She knew that Sasha and her child were the greatest obstacles in her path, and she would do anything to remove them. Initially, she thought of using words, spreading rumors to make Sasha despised and lose support. But then, she realized that wasn't fast enough, effective enough. Sasha could still find a way back, and the child in her womb would continue to grow. Willow knew that if she wanted to deal with this once and for all, she had to act decisively. A plan began to form in her mind. An accident, a fall, an unfortunate incident. As long as Sasha wasn't pregnant anymore, everything would be resolved. Michael would no longer have a reason to care about her. The threat to Willow's position would be completely gone. The more she thought about it, the more relieved she felt. She didn't see this as a crime, just a necessary measure to protect herself. Sasha had made a mistake, and now she would pay for it. Willow didn't care what happened to Sasha after that, as long as the child would never exist. As long as she could regain control, everything would return to its rightful place. Willow closed her eyes, taking a deep breath. She knew she wouldn't hesitate anymore. Sasha and her child would never become part of Michael's life. And if she had to act to ensure that, Willow was prepared to do whatever was necessary. Tracy had never been someone who accepted failure, and this time was no different. When she learned that Sasha was pregnant with a child bearing the Quartermaine bloodline, she felt as though she had just received a huge insult. In Tracy's eyes, Sasha was not someone worthy of giving birth to a child in her family's name. She was merely an opportunist, a poisonous snake who had slithered into Michael's life and was now trying to use this child to secure a solid position. If she allowed Sasha to succeed, it wouldn't be long before she became a thorn in Tracy's side and the entire Quartermaine family. That was unacceptable. As soon as her anger subsided, Tracy began to make plans. She understood that there was only one way to ensure the Quartermaine family would not be tainted by Sasha and her child: they couldn't exist. For Tracy, this wasn't just about protecting the family legacy, but about a battle for honor. She couldn't allow someone like Sasha to think she could challenge her and win. Sasha had to pay for her audacity. Tracy wasn't the type to act hastily, everything had to be calculated carefully. A simple accident could solve the problem, but it had to be executed perfectly. If it was too obvious, Michael or someone in the family might suspect. Tracy couldn't let that happen. Therefore, she began to consider all possibilities, all methods to harm Sasha without leaving a trace. She thought about making Sasha slip and fall, a small accident but severe enough to take away the child. Perhaps a slippery staircase, an incident in the kitchen, or even a sudden collision. But then, Tracy realized these methods might not be reliable enough. An accident was one thing, but who could guarantee Sasha would lose the child? If she wasn't careful, Sasha could survive unharmed, and that was unacceptable. Tracy needed a more sophisticated approach. She thought about using a substance that could cause Sasha to experience complications in her pregnancy without anyone being able to trace it. A dose of something put in Sasha's food or drink could put her at risk without raising suspicion. But to pull this off, Tracy needed the perfect opportunity, and she wasn't willing to wait too long. While Tracy silently made her plans, Willow was also nurturing her own intentions. Although they hadn't discussed it, both of them had the same goal: to destroy Sasha and her child. Willow acted out of hatred and jealousy, while Tracy acted for the honor and power of the Quartermaine family. But despite the different motives, the outcome they desired was the same. Sasha, completely unaware of the plots surrounding her, continued to enjoy her pregnancy. She felt relief with some people supporting her, especially Maxie, who was always ready to help and care for her. Sasha began to dream of a new future where she could raise her child without worrying about the past. She thought all her hardships were behind her, that she could finally stand up after all the pain she had endured. But she didn't realize that behind the fake smiles and seemingly harmless gazes, there were people quietly plotting her downfall forever. Darkness was slowly surrounding Sasha, tightening its grip on her little by little without her knowing. The people she once thought were her allies were scheming against her, and the ones she never expected were the most dangerous. Tracy and Willow were waiting for the perfect moment, just biding their time to strike. And when that moment came, it would come down like a fatal blow, leaving Sasha no chance to fight back.